On the spiritual ascension pathway, recognizing the importance of character, building as a necessary part of having self-love, and self-acceptance is critical to progress through self-deception ego blocks. During this final act of the ages-old battle between the light forces and the dark forces, Earth is aglow with the light of volunteers. Off-planet civilizations and growing numbers of awakened and awakening souls. It is due to ever-intensifying light that you are seeing more and more citizenries revolting against their government's dark policies. Self-deception blocks our levels of ego denial, the half-truths we tell ourselves. Because we are really afraid to see all of the picture that currently blocks our awareness. When we have low self-esteem, our ego defense mechanisms will act to block our progress moving forward in our spiritual ascension and evolving in our life. One who understands they are a loved and worthy spiritual vessel for the Spirit of God source will begin to learn that self-love is at the core of self-acceptance, which is the quality one must build to truly feel and experience God's love for all of us. However, most of the finale still is playing out behind the scenes. The Illuminati are losing global economic control as governments are refusing to do their bidding. Countries they want to be enemies are instead allied in ridding the world of dark ones and their heinous activities. Arrests and trials of individuals for crimes against humanity or treason continue. In this last phase of Earth's transition from darkness into light, a short period of chaos seems inevitable and a brief lockdown seems certain. The latter is both protective and a pivotal happening that will hasten the awakening of still slumbering souls. Some bumpy patches will likely follow, but none would be long-lasting, and there will be no mini ice age, abrupt geophysical shift, or any other predicted catastrophic event. Once we feel love for ourselves, we build inner confidence which further builds our trust with the process of life. In these chaotic times, it is very important to build trust in our communications and relationship with our higher power to help us navigate the challenges we find now in earthly life. A person who is more confident about himself feels more stable in their spiritual foundation and will be more focused and determined to achieve a better state of consciousness with all of life. Regardless of whether it is for career, spiritual purpose, inspiration, family, or personal goals. A peaceful and fulfilling life is most possible when one seeks inner truth and self-knowledge while building a relationship with God and the relationship to the self. When building the relationship with the self, it may mean we are taken through character-building life experiences that we do not prefer. We must push through our fears that live in the houses of ego in order to experience the accomplishment of moving past our perceived mental limitations and negative ego habits. If our mental limitations and/or self-entitlement govern our actions, we will become stunted in our emotional spiritual growth and fall into symptoms of low self-esteem. When irrefutable evidence of truthful information starts coming forth, you who have waited so patiently will greet it with rejoicing. But as many of you are anticipating, most others will be shocked, confused, outraged, and fearful. As encouraging mentors, calmly and confidently explain to all receptive souls that everything going on is ending long ages of darkness on earth. It can be helpful to recommend books and websites that support what you tell them about this profound turnaround. How civilizations have been helping Earth and wondrous changes ahead. The unconscionable disparity between the few haves and the billions of have-nots will end and everyone will share in the planet's abundance. The global economic system based on precious metals that will replace the current corrupt system will protect honestly earned savings and investments. Scientific and technological developments the Dark Ones have been using malevolently will be taken out of their control and used beneficially. The planet's damaged environment will be restored. There will be what you call free energy and grand innovations in healthcare, education, transportation, communication, agriculture, and construction. If we are to begin to recognize the qualities that define safe people and safe relationships, we need to first understand what a safe person is and why we need that kind of safety to overcome fear. We need people in our life that will be honest with us, telling us where we are creating harm and potentially where we may need to change in order to improve ourselves. We need friends that walk according to the truth and are accepting of us, yet they are honest about our weaknesses and faults without condemning us. Relationships in which people use shame, guilt, or condemn us for our actions are ultimately destructive and traumatizing, which does not produce emotional or spiritual growth. These are the unsafe people that require us to be different than who we are, in order to be accepted and conditionally loved by them. Conditional love that must be earned is useless. It is a made-up projection from the negative ego demands and is not real love. If we do not have this kind of safe person around us yet, we can become that person for ourselves and others. As we intend to clear fears and improve our character, we attract similar people. The peoples need to know the powerful energy of positive thoughts and feelings about those changes will manifest them and lead to Earth's golden age, where love is the foundation of life. They need to know that in the timeless continuum, where the past, current, and future are happening simultaneously, that glorious age already is. Dear ones, do not feel uneasy about taking on that task of enlightenment. When the moment arrives that your knowledge is needed, your previous experience in helping other civilizations see the light will come to the fore and you will feel automatically guided. Now we shall address some of your other interests and concerns. Do souls know yet when crews will land? No, we don't. What we do know is that there can be no landings until it is safe for the crews and the people who want to greet them. God relieved fleet commanders of determining when safety can be assured for everyone when it is. He will tell them go. It will be safe then, too, for souls in the extraterrestrial special forces who live among you to introduce themselves. In order to heal our mental and emotional body to overcome deep fears, we must know how to establish safety within ourselves and recognize what makes us feel unsafe. Taking good care of our body, having a consistent meditation or spiritual practice to become more inner-directed, avoiding exposure to self-harming behaviors, and learning how to manage fear or trauma reactions is essential to being safe within yourself. The first step is to identify what makes us feel safe and stable, and to do those things every day. We must make an effort to identify what choices we do have and make changes in our environment that can increase our sense of safety and comfort while in our physical space. Assess the physical and emotional safety of your environment and realize it may be necessary to remove people or situations from your life who are entrenched in destructive and harmful behaviors. In order to make the necessary changes to your lifestyle, when we are more competent in emotional self-regulation, our inner safety is enhanced. So that trust can be formed as we discover that we really do have the resources inside of us for feeling comforted and safe. The Dark One's time is growing shorter, so there is reason to think that sooner rather than later, you will meet these universal family members who are eager to thank volunteers for their invaluable service to Earth and to mingle with Earth's peoples. Souls living in inner Earth's marvelous cities want you to become acquainted with them, too. All will offer help to restore health to the ravaged environment, and that can be accomplished with speed that will astound you. Speaking of speed, because of the light radiated by you volunteers and beamed by far distant civilizations, the transformation of life on Earth is happening with speed that is unprecedented in this universe. Third-density civilizations that declined offers of that assistance took as long as 50,000 years to evolve to fifth density spiritually and consciously. Please ask Matthew how we can send love light. With joy we tell you this is as easy as your desire to do so. If you wish to formalize this in a prayer or meditation or visualization, that is fine, of course, but your feelings and intention are enough. And no address is needed. Simply your thought of the person, group, or Earth herself directs your love light energy where you want it to go. They plan to take over the planet after it's peaceful because it will be easier then to enslave the people. Surely that isn't what will happen. Be assured it will not. Years ago, the light forces built a grid of such intense light around the planet that the low vibrations of malevolent individuals cannot even approach it. Light is anathema to dark ones. Dear family, entire civilizations or extraterrestrial groups have long been helping Earth because they love Gaia and her residents. To forgive another person or circumstances is the most generous thing one can do for yourself. When we forgive others for perceived transgressions, it frees us from the bonds, entanglements, and cords which manifest painful patterns such as judgments, resentment, and anger. Forgiving yourself is the most important action one can take to clearing self-sabotaging bonds of victimhood and their painful wounds from past, present, and future. A forgiveness technique is to practice self-acceptance. No person needs forgiveness for just being who they are. The practice of forgiving yourself is about targeting the specific things that make one feel bad about themselves. The things that make one feel inadequate or unworthy, and not about the truth of the real person that you are. As a forgiveness technique, self-acceptance allows one to acknowledge that you are a good person, with faults and all. This does not mean that one ignores the faults or stops making genuine attempts to improve oneself, but it does mean that one values themselves above all of those elements. When one recognizes self-worth by acknowledging one's whole self, then the personal power is generated to stop allowing these faults to be used as weaknesses and continually halt one's progression and evolution throughout life. Understanding the importance of forgiveness is that it brings you to the current state of now, rather than dwelling on past hurts and pain. Forgiveness allows one to live in the present instead of the past, which means that one can move into the future with a renewed sense of purpose focused on change, improvement, and building on current experiences rather than being held back by past pain. Some people are afraid to forgive themselves because they fear losing their sense of self that has been built on the foundation of anger, resentment, blame, and vulnerability. In previous messages, we have spoken about the importance of discernment in all sources of information, including channeled. Some receivers are not aware they are reaching base entities who give fearful-sounding false information. And other messages purportedly from messengers of the light are written by dark ones on the planet to create fear. Here is another indication of their feelings of desperation. I heard souls transitioning to spirit life are being tricked into going to a kind of limbo where dark forces keep them trapped. Some channelers say Earth is entering 5D. I thought life in that density is peaceful and loving. I don't see this world even close to that. Life in 5th density is peaceful and loving. let us repeat what we have said about density. There are two kinds: personal evolutionary status and the location of a celestial body. Location-wise, Earth is about midway in fourth density and steadily on her ascension course to her destination in high fifth. Evolutionary-wise, many of her populations still are in third density, while others are in fourth and higher densities. In this case, one may ask themselves if feeling victimized and angry, being the easily hurt and reactive person, is the identity you want to show the world and live with as your image. Is the familiarity of being in the victim or victimizer role, or the perceived ego security of this mode of thinking, actually worth the energy, effort, and harm it is causing you? Without the ability to forgive and accept circumstances in relationship to the self and others, not only does one allow themselves to remain stuck in the past, but this takes a huge energetic drain on your emotional and physical health. Inability to forgive is sourced from anger and resentment, two emotions that can wreak havoc with your health and keep one stagnated.